Proverbs 31:5. For when they drink, they forget justice and ignore the rights of those in need, those who depend on them for leadership. Proverbs Daily is a reader and supported program. Every post is free, but if you'd like to help spread the message and make the sacred positively contagious, consider becoming a free or paid subscriber. Just look for the word upgrade or subscribe. Click, click, click. Thanks. Today's episode, don't numb out. Justice needs you sober. Proverbs 31:1-9 is Solomon recalling the words of Bathsheba, his mother, who fiercely impressed upon him in verse 5 that the poor, the vulnerable, the oppressed were depending on him to make right decisions. In other words, don't get drunk and lose the plot of why you're sitting on that throne in the first place. Leadership is never just about you. It's about who's depending on you, who's leaning on your decisions, and who's affected by your choices. I was listening to a conversation between two amazing journalists, Allison Gill and Heather Cox Richardson, and Heather said something that just blew my mind. She drew a straight line between right now and the Reconstruction era of the early 1900s, pointing out that America is caught in a cycle that we've seen before. A cycle of deep inequality, rising oligarchs, voter suppression, political intimidation, and violence that strip the rights from people, especially Black Americans and immigrants. Lynchings unleashed a reign of terror in the South, while Chinese immigrants were excluded by law and attacked in Western cities. The worst of times. Sound familiar? But at the same time, it was also a season of incredible creativity and reform. Black journalists like Ida B. Wells refused to stay silent. Labor unions rose up to protect workers, and women fought for and eventually won the right to vote. Out of all that chaos rose the progressive era, the best of times. Yeah, a mixed storm of creativity and chaos. And here's what grabbed me. She mentioned what we're seeing now, the privatization of government, federal troops in the streets, voter intimidation, even AI being used to decide who gets health care. Although it looks like it's mad and chaotic, it's actually an old familiar system of control. Leaders are power grabbing and numbing themselves with the intoxication of this power, forgetting about justice and making it all about just us. Ignoring the rights of those who depend on them and weaponizing the sense of waning privilege into rage against the very neighbors we all should be protecting. Isn't that exactly what Proverbs is warning us about? Getting drunk on power ain't new. In fact, power might be older than any fermented drink that we've ever concocted. And you thought Colt 45 was bad liquor. This Colt 45 and that new Colt 47? Baby, that's devastating. Leaders are drunk when they choose power plays over people. They're already numbed out to the cries of the vulnerable. They shrug off responsibility while stumbling into policies that cut lives open like broken glass underfoot. But when leaders numb out, the people suffer. When they forget justice, the neighbor is deported. When they ignore the rights of the needy, health care is cut. Communities are left exposed. Voters are silenced. And those who need help the most are forgotten. And here's where the prophetic relevance lands. Leadership is not just for kings and presidents. It's for you and me. Somebody is dependent on you. Somebody is counting on your sobriety, your clarity, your willingness not to get drunk. Your kids, your community, your neighbor, yourself. It was over a century ago when the Fugitive Slave Act passed, and people were being snatched up by militias deputized on a national basis. One major argument against that atrocity was that the fundamental civic unit in our nation is neighbor. That's kingdom talk. That's gospel truth. Jesus himself said, love your neighbor as yourself. When power intoxicates rulers, it's neighbors who suffer. When ordinary people wake up and refuse to numb out, neighbors rise up together. So today, the call to Proverbs 31:5 is this: don't numb out. Don't get drunk on distractions, denial, or despair. Stay woke. Stay clear, because somebody is depending on you. Bottom line, a numbed out leader forgets justice, but an awake people brings justice back. Prayer. Lord, keep me sober, awake, and faithful for our neighbors. Today's challenge. So, what's been numbing you out? Endless scrolling, avoiding hard conversations, distracting yourself from what really matters? Name it, lay it out, then take one real step toward a neighbor who's depending on you today and help out. About the author. Fred Lynch is a creative communicator, author, and Christian hip-hop pioneer. To connect, just search Hey Fred Lynch on all the socials or click in the link in that description. Want daily wisdom on your phone? Just go to proverbsdaily.org or tap subscribe now. Thanks for listening, and please help us out by sharing and liking Proverbs Daily. Be wise, be well. I'm out of here. Peace.